crack don't get you, then the hookers will.
Covenant, calling Raven.
Payback time.
Come on!
Come with me if you want to live.
You just don't turn it off!
Happy Friday the 13th, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema, and today we're going through my top 50 Friday the 13th moments of the entire franchise. Before we get going, if you're a big fan of Friday the 13th, you like conversing about Friday the 13th, then head over to the Friday the 13th Society Facebook page. I'm an admin there, but the creator of the group is Jeff Cool. Myself's an admin, Holly Klein and Becky Sue are all admins too. We'll take care of you there. We talk Friday the 13th all day and every day. So hit the like button. It really helps out the channel by getting this to other people. And yeah, let's talk some Friday the 13th. Well, I love Jason Lives, so I had to have Megan's monologue in here. This is a moment that I think is really cool for Megan's character, how she plays up this story of Jason and the legend. What if it was true? What if he did come back here searching for the counselor who beheaded his mother and all that kind of stuff? And then it ends with this complete gag of, you know, I could only think of one thing more terrifying, and all the kids show up on the frickin' bus. It's always been a cool scene to me when the camera's pushing in on her and it's supposed to be really, you know, building some tension. That ends with that big gag. So I always found that funny. Yeah, so love Megan's monologue. Tina losing control is another great moment in this franchise because I just like the emotion that she has during the movie. When she finds out Dr. Cruz has been lying to her and she finds the newspaper clippings of Jason and he's this legendary killer that she never knew about, and the emotions start coming up in her and everything's freaking going crazy. You know, she's shaking the whole room and Nick goes, "Holy crap, that is you." And she can't control herself. It's really the performance I really like by Lara Park Lincoln here. I think she just really goes for it emotionally and just always, it's a small scene, but I've always really liked this one. Little 10-year-old slimy Jason always creeped me out. When Rennie smashes into him with the car, I always thought it was just a creepy scene. It just really, the look of Jason, you know what I mean? It always freaked me out a little bit. And then Rennie remembers the story, how she almost drowned. I mean, it makes no fucking sense in the narrative of this whole freaking franchise. But it was creepy. I always found the scene extremely, extremely creepy.
Know what those two perverts were doing in my yard?
Say it like you mean it, boss.
Would you shut the fuck up?
You'd be grown by now, right?
Right.
And you know, the only person I'd ever known was his mother.
Always loved Ginny's bar speech when she's drunk at the bar and she's thinking about Jason. This is where her training as a child psychologist coming through. I just like how she's really taking this crap seriously and they all think she's just a Looney Tune. And it's good for her character, right? Because it kind of pays off a bit at the end when we see her put on the sweater and all that stuff and trick Jason, right? But here, when she's like examining it and trying to tell them, well, what if this was real? And she makes really good points about, well, what did he look like? You know, let's put it into real terms. How would he be acting? And she's trying to break it all down in her mind from a psychological point of view with her schooling and all that kind of stuff. It's one of the few times before Jason shows up anyway, where she meets Jason, where she's taking something serious because she's a real smartass for most of the movie. And so I always liked that part in the movie. I always liked that for her character. I think that's one of the things that makes her such a great final girl and such a likable character.
God damn it, Ralph, get out of here. Go on, get. Leave people alone.
You'll never come back again.
Oh, shut up, Ralph.
It's got a death curse.
Good old Ralph. You can't have Friday the 13th moment without talking about Ralph. You know, Ralph is kind of like in the first movie, the one you're supposed to be pointing the finger at who's doing these killings. As we know later, it's Mrs. Voorhees, but he's the warning. You know, it's kind of a cliche now in horror where there's always the person warning you not to go somewhere. And that's Ralph. And I always thought this actor played this character really well. And, you know, it's got a death curse. You're going to Camp Blood. You can tell he's freaking off his freaking rocker. But a lot of what he's saying is true, obviously. There is a curse at Crystal Lake, but it's iconic. And Friday the 13th has a lot of iconic things, and Crazy Ralph is one of them. He's absolutely iconic. Even the way he dresses is iconic now. When I think of this series, you know, good old Ralph always comes into my mind. You know what I mean? You got to have a Crazy Ralph and a lot of your horror because he's the warning. You know what I mean? Do not go there. The warning sign. This is what's going to happen to you if you go into Camp Blood. So, love it.
Creighton Duke.
I know who you are.
I'm gonna kill Jason Voorhees. I need you to help me.
Jason Voorhees is dead.
You know he's not. I know he's not.
Duke at the diner. This was always a hilarious scene for me in Jason Goes to Hell. And I do like Creighton Duke. I think he's absolutely hilarious. What a great idea to bring in a bounty hunter who's been looking for Jason all these years and knows all these secrets and all that kind of stuff. I always love this character, and the line that gets me here, it's corny, it's cheesy as hell, but well, she hasn't had the taste of the Duke yet. This guy's freaking hilarious, man. I love him. And later on when he's breaking Buddy's fingers, always thought that was cool too. But you know, Duke just stirring shit up in the diner and trying to get the attention of Jason's sister there and saying, you know, I'm gonna kill Jason. I'm gonna kill him for good this time. But he's so full of character, Creighton Duke, and he's, you know, got this confidence and this real big arrogance and entertaining. You got to give Jason Goes to Hell entertainment. It is entertaining as hell. Jason standing in New York Square is something, it's just the image I like. You know, I just love the moment, and I like how they shoot it where they spin around, they're turning the camera around, seeing Jason look up at all the buildings, and just him standing in New York Square, and no one even gives a shit. It's just like another freaking crazy guy just sitting there. But it's all about the image of it. It's a great shot. You know what I mean? It's a really great shot from cinematography point of view. And, you know, I'm not big on the look of Jason in this, but still, it's iconic. And this takes forever for him to get to New York. You know, a lot of people say Jason takes a boat. You know, once he finally gets to New York, it's some of the most entertaining stuff in the franchise. It really is. Not the greatest movie, but it does have some good moments in the movie. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. You gotta love Martin the Caretaker and his death, really. He's, you know, he's this drunk walking home singing, "Take me home, Kathleen, my heart will feel no pain." He's I've seen this movie way too many times. I'm laughing at it already. And, you know, throwing the bottle behind him, Jason cracks it, stabs him with the bottle. Very cool scene, very funny, just because of the entertainment. And that's what Tom McLaughlin really brought. I like how he can make it serious and make it really funny all at the same time. And this scene is a real example of that. This has got to be one of the funniest scenes in Friday the 13th franchise when Jason's fed up. He's walking along New York, kicks the fucking stereo, and these gangs pull out these little freaking knives. Jason just turns around, lifts open the mask. They're like, "It's cool, brother. You just go on and doing what you're doing. It's all cool." It's just hilarious. You know what I mean? Jason putting his mask on. Entertaining. You know what I mean? At this point in this franchise, things just got wacky and weird, and you know, we love the entertainment. I mean, one thing Friday the 13th really is, it's a fun franchise. When you stick these moments in here like this that are just absolutely hilarious, that you just laugh at, I love it, right? It's also kind of the downfall of the franchise too, because things got just so ridiculous that they had to keep getting more ridiculous as each movie went on, but it entertains me for sure. Absolutely. The third act in The New Blood is terrific. I really do love it, man. I'm not the biggest fan of the movie as a whole, but the third act is crazy good, man. That's where it works the best. That's where it's the most entertaining. The moment Tina runs into Jason out in the dirt road and she electrocutes him, and then she's running and running. He kills Melissa, and then there's that scene in the house. This is what my favorite part probably is. The scene where his mask comes off and everything. The scene in the house where it's so confined in there, the way John Carl Buechler shoots it. And then you see the size of Jason, like how wide he is. They really have nowhere to go. And all the stunt work Kane does here, like falling through the stairs, the mask coming off, getting lit on fire, like right from when Tina meets him to the end. Just incredible third act. It's so entertaining.
Dead fuck. What? A dead fuck?
Jason battling Freddy. This is something we've been waiting for all our lives, and when we finally got it, this is some of the most entertaining stuff in the entire franchise. My son even loves watching this fight, man. He thinks it's absolutely hilarious. And they kick it off really well where Jason wakes up and Freddy wakes up in the real world, where Freddy's in the real world now, and Jason just freaking kicks the piss out of him. I mean, they go tit for tat, but it is so entertaining. But it's also Looney Tune-ish at the same time. But I guess that's why it's entertaining, where Freddy's like, man, the torpedo. And he's taking these freaking, I don't know, what are they? Hydrogen tanks, propane tanks. He's knocking the valves off them, and he's shooting Jason. But it gets really raw and bloody too on the dock, where they're just stabbing each other, and they just kill each other to absolute death. And right at the end, when Jason comes out at the lake and he's holding Freddy's head, Jason's the winner. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Freddy winks. But for all intents and purposes, I got Jason as the winner in this one. But entertaining. Entertaining as hell, Freddy versus Jason, that fight. A classic jump scare at the end of Friday the 13th. Jason coming out of the lake is awesome. It must have just terrified audiences. I watched part one, like, well, that's one of the last Friday the 13th movies I watched. I got a lot more appreciation for it now. It actually is one of my favorites, but they really set that jump scare up really, really well. You know, when Mrs. Voorhees is killing, goes on this killing spree, talking about Jason, you know, how he drowned and everything like that. And the music that kicks in when now it's daytime, it's morning time now. She sees the cops. It's baiting you. It's baiting you right in, going, oh, it's the end of the movie, right? You're almost expecting those credits to roll up, then bang, they hit you with Jason coming out of the lake. And then at the end, she wakes up and is like, well, we didn't find any boy, man. Then she says he's still there. So it's just a gag at the end of the movie. But it also spawned the whole freaking it spawned Jason. It's what made Friday the 13th iconic and keeps it going is because of Jason, right? And there's been a lot of arguments of, well, is Jason dead? Was that a dream? Was, you know, what is he? You know, was he always alive the whole time? Personally, I think he's a revenant. I think he rose when Alice killed Pamela. Whether you interpret that as the dream or if it happened, whatever. He rose as soon as Pamela died. You know, basically, mother's love for the son, son's love for his mom. He rose, he's a revenant, you stay out of my way, or I'm going to freaking kill you. So, yeah, but I think they executed this really well. Definitely Carrie inspired as well.
Hey, now cut that out right now. That's not funny.
Vera's death, very iconic. You know, really cool character, a fun character. And when Jason comes out fine with that hockey mask on, who knew? Who would have known, right? Just throw a hockey mask on him. It will look cool. And it became iconic, and it's really the face of the franchise, isn't it? But when he comes out there on that dock, and, you know, Richard Brooker's so freaking big and lumbering, and he shoots her in the eye and everything like that, it's a great, it doesn't hold up 3D wise, but I still love the kill a lot. The only thing that gets me is, you guys let me know in the comments, is how he's so nonchalant. Like, he doesn't seem like he has a lot of hatred until he kills Andy. You know what I mean? But he just throws the gun down, looks up at the window. I'm walking along. This is just another day at the office. But I kind of like I love Richard Brooker, don't get me wrong, but I like my Jason a little more when he's attacking with a lot of hatred and a lot of vengeance. You know what I mean? I just always found it odd the way he just throws that harpoon gun down.
Jason, Mother is talking to you!
Jason, Mother is talking to you.
Ginny tricks Jason is just another one of those great moments. I like how she defeats him psychologically, right? And that's how you defeat Jason. You're not going to outdo Jason with his strength here. Let's be honest here. Now, granted, number 2, he's a bit more clumsy. He's not as strong. Very human-like, you know what I mean? But still, he took out Paul with his strength earlier, right? He's not gonna. She knows that I can't defeat him like this. And when she sees Mama's head there, everything at the bar, the Paul's speech and everything, all comes together. Puts the sweater on, thinking, well, let's see if he recognize if I can act like his mom, right? And she plays it really well, really tricks him until Jason sees the head and everything like that. And, you know, really gets into Jason's mind. And that's what I've always loved about this, is the psychological aspect of the whole scene. And I thought that was great. That was a great way of defeating Jason for this movie. You know, the first appearance is Jason really getting into what makes him tick. You know what I mean? Obeying his mother when he thinks Ginny his mother and everything. So I think that's a great scene. Another great third act is Friday the 13th Part 3. Another movie that takes a bit to get going. Like, it's backloaded for sure. But once Jason and Chris go at it, it's pretty great. Cat and mouse stuff going all the way. And she inflicts a lot of damage on Jason. I mean, he gets stabbed in the knee and the freaking hand. He gets hung. That's a great stunt, man. When he comes down and gets hung. And then the Alli shuffle at the end, man. How could we forget? I mean, Alli saves Chris's ass. Let's be honest. When Alli comes out of nowhere and starts taking Jason on, gets his freaking arm cut off, and then he gets hacked up, gives Chris the time to grab the axe, hits him right in the freaking face with the axe, and then Jason does the old Frankenstein thing, you know what I mean? But she inflicts a lot of damage on him, and I like most of the performance by the actress here, by Dana Kimmel, and it's entertaining, man, everything she does to him. So it's another great third act, right?
The girl who survived that night at Camp Blood, that Friday the 13th, she claims she saw him.
I love Paul's speech. I love the way it's written. I like the push-up of the camera. I like how serious he's taking it. You know, warning these counselors about Jason, setting up Jason who he is, his characterization, right? That's what I always love. I really look at this as a similar scene to Dr. Loomis explaining Myers, the Sheriff Brackett, where he's, you know, the devil's eyes and the blackest eyes. I spent 6 years trying to, you know, reach him and all that kind of stuff. You guys know this is kind of the Friday the 13th version of Jason. And Paul uses it as a warning. Don't cross in there. We're not allowed to go into Camp Crystal Lake, but there's also a truth behind it, because that's what Jason is. He will leave you alone. He will absolutely leave you alone. Just don't come into Camp Crystal Lake. The moment Jeff and Sandra come in and cross into his territory, he's like a wild animal, right? He attacks. And that's what spawns all these killings off right until the end of final chapter. He goes on a huge killing spree, right? Jason lives. As soon as he comes out of that grave, where does he go? Back home. Back to the camp and anything that's in his way. He won't travel 20 miles or so to go kill you. It's when you come into his territory. Very much like a wild animal, like I've said before. Man, the opening to the Friday the 13th remake is so good that the movie never gets that momentum again, unfortunately. The first 20 minutes, though, is some of the best Friday the 13th stuff ever, man. I love how smart Jason is here. I'm not big on the design and the look of Jason, but I love what he's doing here, what Derek Mears is doing here. It's just amazing. He traps the guy in the bear trap. He's got the girlfriend hung up with the sleeping bag, you know, coming through the trap door. That's a great scene. How vicious and brutal he is. I mean, that dude running after you, that version of Jason coming at you, coming after you, it's like a freaking freight train through the woods, man. Like, he's absolutely menacing and terrifying. And I mean, you see that guy coming at you in the woods, man, you ain't running. There's not enough speed in your legs to get away from him. And I just love how brutal and vicious they made Jason here, and smart. Like, just like I said, like how he kind of almost like planned everything out in a little way. You know what I mean? Like killed it. Like, it's like a Friday the 13th movie within a Friday the 13th movie. Unfortunately, the rest of the movie never gets this good. If the movie would have stayed at this kind of momentum, then we may be talking, and it had a little better characters, then we may be talking best Friday the 13th movie. But unfortunately, it didn't.
Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
His name was Jason. It's just iconic, man. Seeing Mrs. Voorhees show up, coming off really normal, and then seeing that switch where she's just snapping, I love it. It's one of the most amazing performances in the whole franchise. You know, I love the look of Pamela, just the old woman with the old sweater, and just the way she's like starts talking in Jason's voice. Not yet, obviously, but when she's like explaining Jason was my son, today's his birthday. And then that snap of look what you did to him. You let him drown. You never paid any attention. Look what you did to him. And then she just turns into a freaking nutcase, man. But you also understand Pamela a bit. This is a woman who's lost her son and has carried that pain with her for so many years and has all that vengeance. She doesn't want anything like that happening again. Clearly, she's going by it the wrong way. I mean, get a petition or something like that. But going around and killing everyone at the camp, a little extreme. But you almost, I know in a crazy way, you understand. Like, you understand her pain. If that happened to you, you know, obviously we would handle it different. We're not psychopaths, but something in this woman's brain just snaps. And seeing the look of Alice and everything when this woman snaps, it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy good, man. I love it. Friday the 13th Part 4 has the best third act in all the Friday movies. It's my favorite Jason. I love Ted White as Jason, how brutal he is, how swift he is when he kills. And this just gets really exciting, and it has a lot of energy to it. That moment Jason kills Rob, from then on, I'm talking about, is just Friday the 13th gold, man. You know, he crashes through the window to grab Tommy, busts open the door where he's got them trapped in the room, and then Trish draws him out and then comes back, and they have that final battle, and, you know, Trish is not taking any shit, saying, I'm going to give you something to remember me by. And, you know, the psychological, again, the way they trick Jason, Tommy shaving his head, making him look like a little Jason, and it just distracts him for that one moment, and they just hack him up to pieces. Fantastic third act, man. It's exciting. It's energetic. It's got some tension in there. Trish is one of my favorite, Trish is my favorite final girl, and I just love it, man. I just love this third act and how bloody it gets, and, you know, they are really sending Jason out like, no, he's dead now, but we know it's not the end, right? And the practical effects, Jason's death included in that, is so good, where he slides down the freaking machete, how they're controlling all the animatronics in there and everything. It's one of the best practical effects, man. I still love it. I still think it works really, really well. So it's a great job directing. It was a great job with Tom Savini and his team putting all that together. It's just so iconic. But number one, guys, is Jason's Resurrection from Jason Lives. I can't tell you how many times I've already talked about this in other videos. I love this opening. It's one of my favorite horror openings. Absolutely love the homage to Frankenstein. I mean, Tommy just can't rest, Kenny. He's obsessed. He has to burn Jason, digs up his grave, lightning hits him, brings Jason back. The way this is shot, you know, this scene really sets the pace for the rest of the movie, saying, we're going to have a good time here. This is going to be awesome. And when Jason, you know, that nice jump scare of Jason grabbing Tommy, the thunder and lightning starts, the rain comes down so they can't burn him. The plan goes awfully wrong. He punches a hole right through Buddy's heart, you know, and the guy drops in the casket. I just love the look, the feel, the atmosphere is there. You know what I mean? The look of Jason with the maggots and everything. It's just fantastic. This is such a great opening. I mean, these things got to be entertaining, right? And I just really like I like what they're saying here. Like, Jason's back and he's invincible. There's nothing stopping this version of Jason. I mean, he's zombified now, and, you know, you're not killing him now. And then the way they end the movie, right, is really cool, because they don't really kill him. They just contain him. You know, like the curse is contained now and all that kind of stuff. And I love it, man. This is my favorite Friday the 13th moment. Well, that is it, guys. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite Friday the 13th moment is. Go down the rabbit hole. I got plenty of other Friday the 13th videos you can watch, so I'll put that at the end card, so stay tuned and stick around the end of this video for that. Please like the video, subscribe if you're not a subscriber already, if you like this kind of content. Got a lot more content coming up for you guys too, so there's a lot of content coming, a lot of good videos on the way. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema. I will see you next time, and I will see you in the movies. Cheers.